Question 24. What is the Canadarm and what is it used for? So remember, the proper name for it is the Shuttle Remote Manipulator System, but with its Canada logo, it's developed the nickname of the Canadarm over the years. It's a device that helps astronauts with a multitude of tasks. It has been used in space shuttle operations. It has helped fix the Hubble Space Telescope. And now the newer version of it, the Canadarm 2, is being used on the International Space Station. 25. Identify ways in which the development of materials and technology for space has led to the use of new technologies and material on Earth. Okay, we've already talked about that just recently. Different things like Gore-Tex, Velcro, freeze-dried food, microchips. All those items are integrated into our daily life. If it wasn't for the microchips, I would not be able to talk to you guys right now in this video. 26. Name 3 Canadian astronauts and their contributions to the space program. So, Roberta Bondar was the first lady in space. She studied the effects of microgravity on the human body. David Williams, Saskatchewan born, he has more space walk hours than any other Canadian in history and has studied the human brain. Robert Thirsk stayed on the ISS for 6 months in 2009. Record amount of time for a Canadian spent, or for record amount of time for a Canadian in space at that time. Later broken by Commander Chris Hadfield. We've heard lots of things about what he's done over the years. One of the things I love the most about him is how he promoted education while he was in space. Was a great ambassador of the space program throughout the world. He's probably, after Buzz Aldrin and Armstrong, the first 2 men on the moon, probably he's right up there with being one of the most popular astronauts ever. 27. What is the ISS and what is Canada's contribution to the project? So the ISS is the International Space Station. It's an international research facility that has been constructed in space. It's been numerous countries are involved with it. It brought together traditional rivals like the United States and Russia together. But it's also got countries from the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, and the Canadian Space Agency all involved in it. Canada has provided a lot of personnel for the ISS over the years and created the mobile servicing system for the ISS, and the Canadarm 2 is part of that. Okay, 28. Explain how astronauts meet their basic needs in space. Okay, so one of the most important ones we have is sleep. Astronauts must have darkened areas or wear shields to block out the sun. They can use earplugs and cover themselves with sound suppressing blankets to help block out the noise. Exercise. Scientifically planned exercise is included in the schedule of activities for all astronauts to counter the effects of microgravity in the environment. Now, without having that gravity where they're walking and they're having to use their muscles all the time, their muscles will deteriorate. So they have to ensure that they're doing exercises continuously. But even though they're doing the exercises when they're on the International Space Station, when they get back to Earth, they've lost quite a bit of muscle mass and will be much weaker. Food. Food is prepared in special packages to prevent crumbs from floating around and fouling up the machinery. Much of the food is dried on Earth so it will last longer, and also by drying it out, it makes it lighter so they can ship it up easier. The food is packaged in plastic bags and reconstituted with water. Liquids are drunk from special plastic containers with straws attached. similar to the drink boxes we have on Earth. Hygiene. Astronauts brush their teeth as they do at home, only they can swallow the toothpaste. There's no shower in the space shuttle, so astronauts have to use sponge baths. Wastewater is released into space, although future systems may recycle it. And actually, I believe the ISS is recycling a huge portion of the water now, virtually all of it. 29. How is the solar eclipse different from the lunar eclipse? Okay, so a lunar eclipse happens when the Earth is directly between the sun and the moon. A solar eclipse happens when the moon is between the Earth and sun. And a lunar eclipse can only happen during a full moon and when the moon is directly opposite the sun. A solar eclipse can occur at specific times if there. So there has to be a new moon. Everything has to be aligned. Just remember that a lunar eclipse is much shorter than, or pardon me, a solar eclipse is much shorter than a lunar eclipse because the moon is much smaller than the Earth. So it's not covering as much area with its shadow. But when the Earth's shadow is cast on the moon, the Earth is much bigger and it takes much more time for the moon to travel through that shadow. Also, the other big one is lunar eclipses are safe to watch. We don't have to worry about any eye damage, obviously, from it. But with a solar eclipse, we have to be very careful every time there's a solar eclipse. It's amazing how many people have eye damage or actually go blind from watching it. Okay, question 30. In order for a solar eclipse to occur, the moon's inner or umbral shadow must pass across Earth's surface. The moon's shadow that sweeps across the Earth is known as the path of totality. It only covers 1% of the Earth's surface. The moon, sun, and Earth must be lined up in the same plane and in the correct order for a solar eclipse to occur. Because this specific alignment occurs infrequently, solar eclipses are rare. Okay, so that's it for the unit, folks. Please make sure that you go over that summary right before these review questions. Do the review questions. Now, since we're all at different stages in science right now, we're going to be flexible. We do not need to do the test at the same time. When you are ready to do your test, please contact me by phone, text, email, Skype, whatever. And when you're ready for the test, I will directly email you the link for the online test. Okay, good luck on your test, guys.